Ye Olde Trip to Jerusalem. Now, the story goes that this was once a medieval brew house. It's where some of the Crusaders stopped for a drink on their way to the Holy Land, and today it is a place where we all stop for a drink on our way to an unholy pub crawl. So, if you're ready for this. There's ghosts, there's curses, there's all sorts going on here, so I'm really excited to get inside, have a little look and share with you some of those stories. So, let's go. Carved directly into the sandstone beneath Notingham Castle, the trip is said to date back to 1189, the year Richard the Lionheart departed for the Third Crusade. Whether Crusaders truly gathered here before heading east is impossible to say, but Nottingham itself was very much a city of conflict. In 1194, Richard returned to lay siege to the castle, which had been held by his brother, Prince John. And when you stand beside the castle rocks, it isn't difficult to imagine armor clanking on stone, or heavy boots echoing where no one now stands. The trip's current name is recorded by 1799, according to Historic England, but the caves beneath it are far older. Medieval cellars, storage spaces, possibly even links to the castle above. And if those tunnels could speak, they would tell of one of England's most dramatic portrayals. In 1330, the teenage King Edward III crept through Nottingham's underground passages, including what is now known as Mortimer's Hole, to launch a midnight coup against the man who had effectively ruled in his name, Roger Mortimer. Mortimer had risen to power alongside Queen Isabella, Edward III's own mother, after the forced abdication of Edward II. Many believed Mortimer had orchestrated the former king's murder. Some believed he intended to take the throne for himself. The young king had watched long enough. Under a cover of darkness, Edward and his loyal supporters entered the castle through the cave system carved deep into this fairy sandstone. They burst into the royal apartments and seized Mortimer before he could escape. Legend says Queen Isabella cried out for her son to have mercy. He did not. Mortimer was taken to London and executed for treason, hanged at Tyburn in 1330. Isabella was spared, but her power was broken. The boy king had become a ruler in his own right. And when you stand here, beneath the castle rock, it's hard not to imagine torchlit flickering against the walls, the boots rushing through narrow passages, a queen's voice echoing through the stone. Perhaps that is why these caves feel so charged, because the stories did not end in the 14th century. Cold spots are often reported in the cave rooms. A group of 5 tourists once claimed they saw soldiers walk straight through a cellar wall. Not shadows, not reflections, actual soldiers. Staff have spoken of a little girl on the staircase, a small figure said to play with a bouncing ball. Some say when they descend those stairs, they feel as though something unseen is standing in the way, forcing them to step around. There is also said to be a condemned cell deep within the rock, now too low to use for storage. A former landlady once described it as a place that simply felt wrong. 2 regulars, emboldened by drink, attempted to spend the night there. They lasted 20 minutes and both emerged violently sick. And then, of course, there is the galleon. The galleon is a small wooden model ship that sits enclosed in a glass case. In 1994, a landlady claimed that the last 3 people who cleaned it died within 12 months. Since then, it has remained untouched. Dust gathers on its sails, no one dares disturb it. And in a pub where myth and history blur so easily, perhaps that's for the best.